Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BSV TV. I'm your host Satoshi, and on this show we'll be defending the one and only, truly genuine Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that Satoshi Nakamoto designed in his white paper as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system for the world. Let's get the disclaimers out of the way. So all the statements that you hear on this show are opinion and must only ever be taken as opinion. They are never to be taken as any form of advice, family, financial, sexual or otherwise. And on that note, let's sit back, relax, have some fun and enjoy the show. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and set your own fee on Streamanity.
Yeah, I'm not surprised I wasn't asked why I'm convinced Craig is Satoshi. I posted on Reddit. He signed in my presence using the private key from block number one, the very first mined Bitcoin block. On a computer that I'm convinced had not been tampered with, on software I'm convinced that had not been tampered with, a message of my choosing.
At Enchain, we've just funded a number of universities doing, so far, a test up to 1 gigabyte because it validates what we've already done independently. We've tested up to 380 gigabyte blocks. We've tested 1 million transactions a second and transaction sizes up to 20 megabytes. Super complex scripts. Basically ones that can run operating systems. That's all of global commerce times about 50. On top of that, we can have complex scripts. On top of that, we can scale each of those transactions 1,000 times, which effectively means about 1 billion transactions per second, which means we can then have all derivatives, all complex trades. That means high frequency trading. It means everything that happens globally.
Is the market that effectively BSV is going for, is that global e-commerce, which is currently valued at $29 trillion?
No, that's too small.
Buy and sell Bitcoin instantly at bsvgravity.com. And you can now book and pay for your winter holiday at skibsv.com. Alrighty people, it looks like we are live. Welcome to Satoshi TV, aka Bitcoin SV TV, aka It's Just Bitcoin. Today's day is Saturday, the 7th of August 2021. Let's be gone and get straight in and have some fun. Almost rhymes, doesn't it, really? Let's be gone and have some fun. Right, let's have a look at these charts first of all. They're getting so exciting. So if you are watching this on YouTube, this is a week behind, and we know that in crypto, loads can happen in a week. Even though it's not crypto, the rest of the market is crypto. Bitcoin is a commodity, a digital commodity, which makes, in fact, it's the most valuable commodity on planet Earth. It's amazing. So let's have a look at these. Look at that, transactions going up to 62%. Look at all these block sizes coming through. Well, look, we've had a 371 megabyte block this afternoon. 211, 106. Oh, amazing. So CoinDance. Whoa, the price going up. Look at 159 according to CoinDance, and Preve saying 154. Top left of the screen frame. Let's just check that quickly on Chitfinex. Oh yeah, we've had a spike in the price. Oh, I wonder if somebody's gonna notice. This is what's gonna happen. It's literally gonna be like a house of cards coming down. Oh my goodness me. So quite a few articles I want to get through today, so we'll have to hurry up and stop looking at the figures. Come on, let's just get through it. Here we go, right. Let's just have a quick read through this press release by Bitcoin Association, because what everybody's excited about is gigabyte block. New world record, 1 gigabyte block mined on the Bitcoin SV blockchain. Zug Switzerland, August 6, 2021. The Bitcoin Association, the Switzerland-based global industry organization that works to advance business with the Bitcoin BSV blockchain and digital currency, today confirms that 2 1 gigabyte blocks were successfully mined on the BSV network, the largest block ever mined on the public blockchain. The new world record was set at block height 699154 on August 6, 2021. At 134 UTC. Let's see what Block Explorer they're using. Blockchain. There we go. Right, using blockchain. Interesting. All right, now we know. Thought they might be using what's on chain or something. So it contained, let's get this right, 999,959,302 bytes of data, and was mined by TAL Distribution Information Technologies, a public company listed on the Canadian Securities Exchange. The world record block is the second time that the record has been broken in quick succession, following a block also earlier today at 4:04 in the morning, UTC at a height 699097, containing 999,743,208 bytes. That's the G block, baby. The G block, the first ever gigabyte. We'll have it because the block cap, or soft cap, was a gigabyte, so it was never going to get over it, but I mean, it's as close as you're going to get. Today's 2 gigabyte size blocks surpassed the prior record of 638 megabytes, which was mined on March 14th, 2021, also by TAL Distribution Information Technologies. God, seems like a lifetime ago now, jeepers. TAL's world record number 1 gigabyte block contained 10,136 transactions, including a significant number of image files by user Meta ID, a blockchain-based identity protocol built on BSV. Those transactions generated a total of 5.09 BSV in transaction fees, adding to the 6.25 coin fixed subsidy awarded with each new Bitcoin block, bringing the total block reward generated from the record block to 11.34 BSV. That's amazing. 11.34 BSV in one block. Wow. So I mean, imagine that's, you multiply that by 100 grand each. It's $1 million in one block. The substantial proportion of the transaction fees generated by the record block reflects a trend that is important for the Bitcoin mining and transaction processing sector to remain profitable in the future. With the fixed subsidy amount per block halved approximately every 4 years, that's 210,000 blocks. In the block reward halving events, miners must earn more in transaction fees to compensate for the increasingly lower fixed subsidy portion of the block reward. This is only possible through scaling the network with bigger blocks that hold more transactions than data, all while maintaining low transaction fees to facilitate genuine use and utility. This is how Satoshi Nakamoto designed Bitcoin to remain profitable for the nodes that are today called miners, but will gradually shift to becoming transaction processors. Good description there. The world record block comes as the BSV network continues to demonstrate its diverse range of capabilities, both as an innovative and as a resilient technology. On August 3rd and 4th, the BSV network successfully repelled a trio of attempted illegal block reorganization attacks. Today's record-setting blocks followed consecutive days that saw numerous large blocks processed on the BSV network, with 42 blocks exceeding 200 megabytes, including several in the 400 to 500 megabytes range. In the 48 hours preceding TAL's record block, most of these big blocks were mined by TAL and SV Pool. Transactions on the BSV blockchain originate from the array of business leveraging and diverse functionalities offered by the BSV network, including simple payments, tokens, social and digital media content, online game activity, and timestamping records, in addition to the business and consumer data management through the chain. Earlier this year, the BSV blockchain surpassed BTC to become the most data-rich Bitcoin network, with the total data stored on-chain on May 6th reaching 352.9 gigabytes on the BSV network compared to 352.4 gigabytes on BTC Core Coin. Since that time, the BSV network has continued to extend that lead, increasing the amount of data stored on-chain to 494 gigabytes. Should be past that now, compared to 358 gigabytes on Core Coin as of August 6, 2021. The continued growth of the BSV network is enabled by its unique ability to scale unbounded, with no limits on the default block cap size on its blockchain. The network dynamically adjusts the size of each block in response to market demand. As a result, the BSV network can offer the ever-growing data capacity required at extremely high throughput rates. The BSV network demonstrated 50,000 transactions per second throughput earlier this year during a live test. Steve Shadows did that one at extremely low cost. The median transaction fee on the BSV network in 2020 was less than 1/50th of a US cent, reported by data from bitinfocharts.com. To learn more about the BSV blockchain and the array of businesses using its network, you can visit bsvblockchain.org. Awesome. Commenting on today's announcement, the Bitcoin Association founding President President Jimmy Nugent said, following a week that started with the BSV network successfully repelling a trio of attacks by a malicious actor, it's extremely rewarding to conclude it by seeing the network demonstrate its most important capability, scale. The ability of the BSV blockchain to scale unbounded and produce these massive data-rich blocks is the key to unlocking all new economies and technologies. As more and more businesses awaken to the transformation potential of blockchain technology, the only way to reap the incredible benefits available is with incredible scale. And that incredible scale is only possible with BSV. Also commenting, technical director of Bitcoin SV infrastructure team Steve Shadders said, the new record-setting block on BSV blockchain concludes a challenging week, one in which the network has called upon to demonstrate both its resiliency in the face of illegal attacks, as well as its progressive capabilities in producing these two behemoth 1 gigabyte blocks. For us at the Bitcoin SV infrastructure team, however, this milestone is just another stepping stone or step towards achieving a much larger version of Bitcoin, one in which a gigabyte blocks are seen as small, not record-breaking. Absolutely amazing. Right, we'll just have the fantastic speech given by Steve Shadders at CoinGeek right here in my video shorts. Let's just bring it up. Here we go. Let me just find it. Take the floor, Steve Shadders.
We have run this across all 10 nodes, and I have actually seen volumes in excess of 100,000 per second. I wasn't quite brave enough to try that one today, live on stage. But there we have a real-life example of a Terranodes that is able to scale. If I had more time, I would show you one that's actually running at a steady-state capacity and show that it actually can continue for a long period of time without any problems. For reference, we don't think that the Bitcoin SV software would be able to handle a validation rate like that at this point in time. By the end of this month, we're hoping to actually have alpha versions of Terranode listening on the mainnet. They won't be trying to produce blocks. They'll just be listening and processing peer-to-peer messages. We'll also build, we have built scale testnets, global scale testnets for the Terranode specifically. We can't do this on the scaling testnet because we'll crush it. Because we have proven that Terranode can scale, we've proven what Satoshi always said about Bitcoin. Bitcoin can and does scale. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve Morlike. Absolutely amazing, amazing. Oh yeah, let's just have a quick look, see how far the chain is in front. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this. Just quickly, just for lulz. Why not? More details. How far are we ahead now? Any guesses? 140 plus? 148! Come on! Come on! You absolute beauty. What other metrics we're looking at? Just quickly. Average block size. What's this? Where are we now? This should have romped away just recently. We'll do this quarterly on 3 months. Oh, that's gonna pick up really quickly. Really quickly. And look at that. Growth of the chain. Whoa. Amazing. Amazing. Love it. Love it. All right. Let's get onto CoinDesk. Here we go. So this one was well worth a laugh. Check this out. Binance.US CEO Brian Brooks, who was the chief comptroller of the currency of the United States, quits and cites strategic differences. Brooks confirmed in an email his Twitter account was not hacked. All right, so he did actually tweet this out then. So Brian Brooks announced on Twitter Friday afternoon, that was just yesterday, that he's resigned as Binance US CEO after just 4 months on the job. Literally, you know, all these Binance US CEOs, like literally they're lasting like weeks, straight in, straight out their door. They're like, whoa, I ain't touching that with a barge pole. No way, no way. Because they're legally responsible otherwise, jeepers. Brooks confirmed that in an email to CoinDesk that his account was not hacked. In the tweet, Brooks cited differences over strategic direction. If that isn't a polite way of saying I'm getting the F out of here. between him and his colleagues. Before joining the US arm of the Binance Global Crypto Exchange, Brooks helmed the office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the regulator for national banks under US President Donald Trump. Brooks' hiring appeared to have been part of a strategy by Binance.us as its parent to improve their standings by hiring well-regarded former regulators from around the world, who are now looking for a sharp exit. Now Brooks's abrupt departure, along with last month's similarly unexpected departure of the director of the Binance Brazil after only 6 months, is bound to raise questions as regulatory scrutiny of the world's largest crypto exchange by trading volume and its various subsidiaries has only intensified. In recent months, multiple countries, including the UK and Japan, have taken action against Binance. In a statement, Binance CEO CZ said he is confident in Binance's US's business and it's a commitment to serve its customers. Delusional. Brooks's departure, CZ added, would not affect Binance US customers in any way, apart from the fact that they're not going to be able to get the money out very soon. Neither he nor Brooks elaborated on why they parted ways. No word on a successor, even an interim one either. Look at that. No, even the amount of money they pay and they offer, and they'll be offering huge amounts of money. They're just like, no, mate, see you later. I ain't touching that. You know, like literally, what do they say? That job burns my fingers, man. You're in the hot seat, literally. Brian's work for Binance US has been invaluable, and we hope he will continue to be an integral part of the crypto industry's growth, advocating for regulations that move our industry forward. Zhao said in a separate statement provided to CoinDesk. We wish him the very best in his future endeavors. That well-wishing contrasted with the way Binance US dealt with Brooks's predecessor, Catherine Coley. The exchange didn't even mention her when it hired Brooks in April. Scathing. During his time as acting comptroller of the currency, Brooks pursued an aggressively crypto-friendly reform agenda and met often with members of the digital asset industry because he didn't know they were a bunch of scumbags at the time. But now he's seen it for himself, probably. From corporate CEOs to bleeding-edge entrepreneurs from the decentralized finance DeFi space. Oh, we'll read about that in just a minute. So that's the official tweet there. Greetings, crypto community, letting you all know I've resigned as CEO of Binance US despite differences over strategic direction. I wish my former colleagues every success, citing exciting new things to come. Yeah, right. I said Brian Brooks has resigned as Binance US CEO. I remain confident in Binance's US business. I don't. And its commitment to serve its customers and innovate. Oh dear, oh dear. Just somebody just give him a shovel. He can dig himself a hole. Honestly, absolutely hilarious. All right, well, let's get into this next piece then, shall we? Check it out. So this is the press release from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, and again, what's her face? Hester Pierce, I think is her name. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go. Around here somewhere. Where was that tweet? Here we go. That's the one. So Hester Pierce has said here, enforcement action against DINO, Decentralized in Name Only Project. Oh, here we go. The SEC charges decentralized finance lender and top executives for raising $30 million through fraudulent offerings. Case is agency's first involving securities using DeFi technology. Washington, D.C., August 6th. That was just yesterday. The Securities and Exchange Commission today charged 2 Florida men and their Cayman Islands company for unregistered sales of more than $30 million of securities using their smart contracts and so-called decentralized finance DeFi technology, and for misleading investors concerning the operations and profitability of their business DeFi money market. According to the SEC's order, Gregory Koff, Derek Acri and their company Blockchain Credit Partners offered and sold securities in unregistered offerings through DeFi Money Market from February 2020 to February 2021. The orders find that they used smart contracts to sell two types of digital tokens. M tokens that could be purchased using specified digital assets that paid 6.25% interest, and DMG governance tokens that purportedly gave holders certain voting rights, a share of excess profits, and the ability to profit from DMG governance token resales in the secondary market. According to the order, in offering and selling M tokens and DMG governance tokens, the respondents stated that DeFi money market could pay the interest and profits because it would use investors' assets to buy real-world assets that generated income. That's outrageous, like car loans. However, the order finds that after publicly unveiling DMM, the respondents realized that DeFi money market could not operate as promised because the price volatility of the digital assets used to purchase the tokens. Oh, where are we now? Tokens created risk that the income generated through income generating assets would be insufficient to cover appreciation of investors' principal. The order finds that rather than notifying investors of this roadblock, the respondents misrepresented how the company was operating, including by falsely claiming that DeFi Money Market had bought car loans that they displayed on DeFi Money Market's website. While the respondents controlled another company that owned car loans, DeFi Money Markets never acquired an ownership interest in any of those loans. Instead, the order finds that the respondents used potential funds and funds from the company they controlled to make principal and interest payments for M token redemptions. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's outrageous. Who would have guessed it? Full and honest disclosure remains the cornerstone of our securities laws, no matter what technologies are used to offer and sell those securities, said Guber S. Gruel, director of the SEC Enforcement Division. This allows investors to make informed decisions and prevents issuers from misleading the public about business operations. The federal securities laws apply with equal force to age-old frauds wrapped in today's latest technology. Scathing age-old fraud Ponzi schemes, basically, said Daniel Michael, chief of the SEC Enforcement Division Complex Financial and Instruments Unit. Here, the labeling of the offering as decentralized and the securities as governance tokens did not hinder us from ensuring that DeFi Money Market was immediately shut down and the investors were paid back. The SEC's order finds that the M tokens were notes that were also offered and sold as investment contracts. The DMG governance tokens were offered and sold as investment contracts, and the respondents violated Section 5A and 5C of the Securities Act 1933 by conducting unregistered offers and sales of both types of digital assets. The SEC's order also finds that respondents violated the anti-fraud provision of Section 17A of the Securities Act and Section 10B of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 and Rule 10b-5 thereunder. Without admitting or denying the findings, the SEC's order respondents consented to a cease and desist order that includes disgorgement totaling $12,849,354 and penalties of $125,000 each for Kiof and Akri. In addition, prior to the issuance of this order, the respondents funded the smart contract so that the M token holders could redeem their M tokens and receive all principal and interest owed. The SEC's investigation was concluded by Brent Mitchell, Stephanie Reinhart, and Gregor Solomon, and supervised by Natalie Bernson. Blah 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 blah. Very good, very good. All right, let's just play this little track here. A mix between Vitalik Buterin and Gary Gensler of the SEC defining a security. Bring it on. Here we go. Here we are.
You just described some crypto as securities. Which ones do you think of as securities?
It's pretty clear, and the Supreme Court has actually spoken about this many times. If somebody is raising money, selling a token...
Start the Ether presale in a couple of weeks. So the Ether presale will be an opportunity for anyone to purchase Ether, where Ether is the internal currency inside of the Ethereum system, sort of like the XRP and Ripple.
And the buyer is anticipating profits.
What we're hoping is that sort of similar to what happened with Mastercoin. If that slice is something like 20%, and then the value of Ether goes up by 5, then we basically have the entire initial BTC that we got all over again.
Based on the efforts of that group.
About 100 people that are working on Ethereum right now.
Myself leading the protocol design.
And we also have branding teams, we have marketing teams.
That fits into something that's security.
Partially in order to better flesh out the business plan, partially in order to better flesh out the terms, partially for legal reasons.
Brilliant. Oh, love it. So shout out to people in the chat box. JPath has just said 70% of the transactions are coming from Meta ID. That's true. Let me just see if we can find. Let me see as a search. Something fish, like new something or other. There he is. Here we go. So, what was the tweet he's put up here? About thinking blocks are going to be even bigger sooner or later. A really good tweet here. If I can find it again. Once the power of a big block is unleashed, nothing can stop it. Those attacks are caused by a scared and jealousy will only make BSV grow fast. Oh, here we go. Check it out. Check it out. So, my prediction may be a little conservative. It's quite possible that near 72 BSV mining fee, 14 gig data will be generated from a Meta ID today, which incentivized by a Meta coin. Today, the average block size exceeds 100 megabytes, is promising. So he said here, this was the tweet, the average block size will exceed 200 megabytes in that average in 1 to 2 months. BSV miners, Tau blockchain, please be well prepared for this. Yes, indeed. Big things to come on Bitcoin. Absolutely huge. All right, well, let's get into this now because it's the talk of the town. So this, let's get rid of that. Got it. Thank you. So Schnorr signatures on Bitcoin. So they said here, we've implemented Schnorr signatures on Bitcoin. It's the first and only known implementation without any changes to the original protocol. All right, but there's an interesting bit here where it says the legal implication of using Schnorr signatures is out of the scope of this article. Okay, so I mean the article is obviously quite a technical one. I'm more of a fundamentals person one, so I'm more interested in that. So that leads on to this. Right. So it looks like CSW wrote this on the 3rd of March 2019. So I did discuss this with somebody earlier today, and my guess is this. So you can increase privacy as much as you like. So that it becomes more and more private each time. So as in like those who are wanting the details or the evidence or are looking for the evidence, it's harder and harder to find, so long as it is still there. So you can, like I said, you can make it more and more private, with Schnorr signatures, but so long as that chain of signatures is intact and there is evidence to prove as such, even if it's really, really hard to find, what you cannot do is delete the data that breaks the chain of signatures so that it is no longer there. That is what's illegal. So I'm guessing this Schnorr signatures is increasing privacy. It's not adding anonymity, because that is where you cross the line. So you can basically increase privacy exponentially. Like I said, so long as the evidence is still there, no matter how hard it is to find. That's the best way I can probably describe what we're going to read here in Schnorr signatures. So this is quite a long article, but I'm going to try and get through it anyway. So here we go. Most cryptocurrency efforts have been defined since Silk Road as one attempt after another to alter Bitcoin from a pseudonymous system to create an anonymous system that may be used for the dark web. All right. Schnorr, unfortunately, the story about privacy has been manipulated. Private communications are utterly different to anonymous communications. Just like I was saying there, really. We need to consider accountability. Private communications allow people to engage in trade and to communicate knowing that their communications and exchanges are accessible only to the other party. Yet such a form of communication is important for all trade, requires some level of reputation. Very true. Yeah, accountability, reputation. There are many aspects of trade that are more private, yet here the reality is that privacy is linked to an ability to seek redress against another party. Yeah, like that. Very good, very good. So legal recourse. In Silk Road and other dark web operations, it is by nature not a concern. In such an exchange, you cannot form a valid and enforceable contract. It is very simple, as illegal contracts cannot be enforced. Oh, yeah, right, okay, yeah. So, in other words, a contract to be engaged in an illegal or criminal activity is void, ab initio, I presume that's Latin. Hence, you cannot... let's have a quick look at that now, actually. There we go. Void ab... I'm probably making a right hash of pronouncing that. Here we go. See what it means. Oh, excellent. So avoid ab initio definition means that a legal document, contract, agreement, or transactions is legally void from the start. All right, there we go. Now we know. I wonder if there's a way I can pronounce it. That's all right. Okay. Well, now we know. So just void, basically. All right. Hence, you cannot legally enforce a contract to buy illicit drugs, such as being the goal of all seeking an anarchist and anonymous coin. Unfortunately for such people, it is also what Bitcoin was designed not to facilitate. With an immutable evidence trail, Bitcoin creates a system that acts within the law. To trade, to hold money validly, and to act within a legal society as most people seek to do, we require money with a traceability. In fact, to be money under law, the medium of exchange is necessarily traceable. Within existing laws, source of wealth legislation means that anonymous systems are heavily restricted and lead to an oppressive level of control. More importantly, ownership of money becomes fungible due to legal considerations. Money cannot be taken, as with many goods, due to a legal construct. In other words, when money has been exchanged without knowledge of fraud or malfeasance and good consideration, it becomes the property of the receiving individual, and all ties of former ownership are severed. Interesting. So that means kind of like you can use it for if you did use it for an illegal trade and then passed it on to somebody else, they're no longer tainted for that other person. They're valid. The exchange requires, I think that's what it means there. The exchange requires that the individuals involved are capable of demonstrating a source of funds. If you have money that you have received and cannot demonstrate a source of it, it is not always yours and can be taken in many instances. An example is the use of mixers. If you do not maintain the source and destination of keys, you are not able to validate your ownership of such money, and it can be disputed. More importantly, it is very simple to stop an anonymous system. One thing we should all have learned from the rise and massive collapse of cryptocurrencies in the 1990s is that anonymity is the enemy of any cryptographic monetary system. Just as the government was easily able to stop eCash, it can easily stop another anonymous system. So why Schnorr? All right, let's get into it then. So this brings us back to the endless progression of so-called fixes and improvements. We had SegWit, then Lightning, and now we have a multitude of systems that are somehow going to make them work. It is a common method used by a lot of failing organizations in Silicon Valley. Tradition: fail until you succeed or run out of money. In doing so, we see an endless row of technical enhancements designed to deliver a promise to the market that this time will succeed. Yet such is all it is, a mere promise. But what exactly are they trying to deliver? It seems to be the question that few people are asking. There are the common lies propagated about how they will enable scaling. The same lie was spread with SegWit, though the truth is none of it had any relation to scaling at all. Unfortunately, very few people involved in the industry seem to have the technical capability to understand what is going on, and those that do are seeking something other than they promise. In signature law, there is nothing particularly special other than an agreement to be bound. It requires an act or attestation by an individual, not a legal entity such as a company, but a person. The misunderstanding and the legal framework around signatures and systems such as Bitcoin and derived alternatives lies in believing that a signature can be separate from an individual. A company cannot sign and a machine or an agent cannot sign. The reality is that an individual agrees to be bound. Amazing. So this means that all these, government orders and these results given by experts and stuff, we are now going to see the individual who is responsible for making those decisions and giving out those orders in government, and all these experts in white coats behind closed doors that we don't know they are. We are now going to know exactly who they are and who gave the order. It's going to be fascinating. The way it was circumvented in the delivery of earlier EDI systems was to incorporate a binding master contract. In having such a contract, parties agreed to be bound using the results obtained through the electronic exchange. There is no additional privacy in hiding through such a system, and it remains the individuals who are bound. Which brings us to the endless push for changes to Bitcoin, such as the infamous Schnorr signatures. It is consistently, if a little dishonestly, pushed as the solution to privacy woes. The truth is, it is not a privacy, nor is it a scaling solution. An individual can construct a system where they can be bound using such a signature, but so is not the reason for its introduction and continuous proposal. The real reason is that a group of technologists believe that they can circumvent law and introduce a system that allows users to gain plausible deniability and hence some level of additional anonymity. In a typical Schnorr scheme, if we have two signers in a cyclic group, we cannot be certain that there are not in fact multiple additional parties. For instance, if Alice is dealing with Bob, and Alice and Bob together form a joint signature and public key, then Schnorr allows for the additive processing of the individual signatures so that only one associated with P joint will be visible. The requirement is that all parties sign. It is not a 2 of 3 scheme. It is an end-to-end scheme. Consequently, all parties involved need to provide a signature. It is important that Alice has no way to determine if Bob is a single or a multi-party signatory. As such, Alice could be entered into an exchange where P Bob is in fact itself a compass signature constructed by P Maloney and P Biff. So P joint equals P Alice plus P Maloney plus P Biff. The proposed benefits of allowing a multi-party signature to hide the fact that you are backing up keys parts are untrue. They are misleadingly promoting that Schnorr is going to provide an additional ability to back up keys privately. It is utter falsehood. All right, interesting. The question is, what is gained? At least in the misguided belief of the developers seeking to introduce Schnorr. The belief is that in not allowing Alice to definitely know who she is dealing with, the parties will be able to have a level of plausible deniability under the law. Interesting point. In theory, such developers believe that they can circumvent the legal process and create a coin that will work on a dark web, allowing drug sales in the manner that Silk Road promised. It, again, is utter bull. It's the same fallacy that misguided attempts to lose records, such as the Lightning Network, keep proposing. Such developers and associated fools fail to understand that legislation, such as the FinCEN Bank Secrecy Act, requires that records are maintained, and that a mere act of deleting them is enough to make their system illegal. More importantly, it does not deliver plausible deniability. The exchanges between parties can be captured, allowing evidential proof from the association of individuals with multiple transactions. And the fact that you are part of a signature whilst not allowing legality from non-persons to sign and be bound conversely delivers evidence when used in criminal trials. What exactly is more private? This is what I was saying. Excellent. When implemented correctly and where keys are not reused, Bitcoin can be as private as an individual would desire. Keys can be exchanged using thresholds and ECDSA. It is possible on any system now. It can be a deal-based system where an individual such as Alice can decide to split her key into multiple parts and issue parts of her key to other parties to enable recovery in the event of loss. Further, keys can be split using dealerless algorithms. Such algorithms can be constructed in a way that hides the membership or voting rights associated with the key. As an example, a corporate voting key could be divided between 8 broad members with a requirement of 6 of the members to actively engage in the reconstruction of a valid signature. So the irony in the endless facade of seeking anonymity over privacy is that privacy offers more. Excellent. Excellent. The Bank Secrecy Act. The endless push to argue that block size needs to be capped and to force people into Lightning and other half-baked solutions is purely a response to FinCEN and legislation such as the Bank Secrecy Act. It is a misleading argument saying that crypto is a new and hence law does not apply. The entire argument is utterly ignorant. It seeks one purpose, the creation of a system that allows for deletion of logs and records. Silk Road was one of the worst things to happen to Bitcoin, and yet also proved the efficiency of the system. It proved that Bitcoin would never be a good system for dark web money. It was intentional and designed into Bitcoin from the beginning. As money, it must be traceable. As a promissory note system in the form of Lightning Network and all other associated misguided attempts to move the settlement off-chain and hence allow exchanges without records, there are many aspects of the Bank Secrecy Act that need to be considered by nodes. The Bank Secrecy Act was introduced in an effort to combat money laundering and terrorist financing. The Act comes under the control of the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, that was Brian Brooks previously, in the USA, and mirrors requirements that need to be enforced globally. Bank Secrecy Act 13, USC 5311 et 6, introduced a complete set of requirements detailing record keeping and reporting practices. In Bitcoin itself, all records are maintained on-chain and are publicly visible. Any exchange, bank or other organization is able to monitor the records and also require documented proof of the source of funds. Such laws don't go away or change because of technology, nor shall they. Interestingly, although Bitcoin itself or any of its derivative systems is not a store of value outside of the contract denominated in Bitcoin, the use of a promissory note system within Lightning creates a store of value. It is a store of value under public L11124 titled V503 and is not associated with the commonly misused term in economic analysis. Lightning, by removing the clearing and settlement functions of Bitcoin and turning it into a node-based payment channel, now introduces reporting requirements, ones that are intentionally being circumvented by those creating Lightning. Unfortunately, you don't change the law by making something designed to allow crime. Yeah, good point. Some people will think that such things apply only to banks and exchanges. A thorough understanding of the Bank Secrecy Act will lead you to understand that such is not the case. In fact, any Lightning hub will start coming under the requirements of the Bank Secrecy Act. There is no point in seeking to alter Bitcoin to create an anonymous coin. Far better anonymous coins have existed. All of them have been shut down. The one thing that allowed Bitcoin to survive is that it is within the law. There is no future for any cryptocurrency acting outside the law. They are very easy to stop. Systems such as Monero are incredibly easy to stop and come under existing legislation. Miners, as with the worst addition to a corrupting Bitcoin, P2SH, what's that? Private 2 signature hash, I think. Schorr signatures removes some of the validation from miners. In seeking to consistently alter the protocol, the BTC Core, SegWit Core developers are seeking to create a system that cannot be validated fully. At the end of the day, it shows their hatred for Bitcoin. As the Bitcoin halving approaches in the next year, we are not going to see a manipulated spike, with the regulatory bodies now closely watching Bitcoin exchanges, aka backstreet gambling houses or bucket shops. Rather, the use of on-chain transactions that are competitive with other systems on the market will need to fund the difference in incentives, or the miners will leave the chain. We can expect the combination of legislation being enforced, it exists right now, and the halving to drastically impact the price of BTC. The elephant in the room that nobody talks about is really the economic cost of the transactions. To be competitive in a way that allows people to move from existing systems to Bitcoin requires a marginal fringe cost of around a fifth of a cent USD. A transaction, no more. Even that is too much. To compete with the existing commercial system, Bitcoin will need to scale to thousands of transactions a second and an average cost of around a tenth of a cent per transaction or far less. Removing profit from miners is just the perfect way to kill the chain. Absolutely. Fortunately, Bitcoin is incredibly robust. It was designed to allow the legal integration of electronic cash and much, much more. As many fraudulent attempts occur, people will start to wake up to the fact that nothing is really being achieved. No growth is happening in BTC, and the endless integration of useless technology such as Schnorr that is designed with one reason to circumvent the law and create anonymous crime coin remains a dead end. Then again, watching the Rube Goldberg machine in action has been fun. If such individuals had actually taken the time to see what was happening, they would have started focusing on attacking what we were doing. Meanwhile, we are approaching number 700 in patents filed, and I expect to have number 1,200 filed over the year at least. Thank you for discounting me, and thank you for ignoring us for so long. Awesome, loving that. That's going to be my thumbnail for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show. Time for my favourite part of the day. It is time for Dinging of the Dong. Put your handles and payments in the chat box, peeps. Let's do this. Just going to open up my hand cash. There we go. So shout out to people in the chat box from the top. Elvis Cool Cat, Arcade Rob, J Paps, KP Dad. Great stuff. Thank you for joining me. I think that's everybody. Oh, I've just lost everybody. I've just reset the... brilliant. I've just literally reset the chat box. So I'll have to remember who it was that was in. There we go. Elvis Cool Cat back in the house. Put your handles and payments in there. Let's do this. Elvis Cool Cat. Got it. 1 on the way. Swiping to send. Turning up that volume. Got it. There we go. And J Paps, saw you in there. Here we go. JP. J Paps, got it. Swiping to send. Excellent. And KP Dad, 72, on the way to you. Here we go. KP Dad, got it. Swiping to send, on the way. Oh, third gigabyte block mine. Excellent. Yeah, I know we've had 3. I'll be good to see if there's a 4th. Who else was in there? Remind me. Got a memory like a sieve. Obviously just been reading and calling names out. Arcade Rob Pikes. There we go. Got it. Swiping to send, on the way. Thanking you. Anybody else? Do an 8-second countdown. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're done. There we go. Hope you enjoyed the show. As ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there. Joy giving. Catch you guys later. Get paid for posting your pics on Relica. Download the app now at www.getrelica.com. Get your tweet etched on Twitch, forever on the Bitcoin blockchain. Do it today at www.jointwitch.com. BuyBSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online. Support independent content creators on micropayment platforms such as Streamanity, Twitch and Relica. We should profit from our data, not the large corporations who track, monitor and sell it. If you enjoy the Bitcoin content that I produce, please support me by heading over to www.satoshi.tv, where you can keep up to date with all the latest news, gossip and content as it's created. Thanks very much. To get started in Bitcoin, go to freebsv.com, where you can claim your free Bitcoin. Then head over to Twitter and follow @IamSatoshi, where you can take part in his very generous and world famous free giveaways. The future of advertising meets the power of Bitcoin at Tonic Pow. Get paid for posting advertising campaigns to your social media profiles. Go to www.tonicpalads.com.